This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
Every time I hear about my dad, it's, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between Jeremy Scott and the son he'd never known.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, catch the tourney finals with us. Join Max Fuller tonight for a KFAN tournament finals watch party at the Rabbit Hole in Minneapolis. Stop by starting at 7:30 to see a champion crown with our own Max Fuller. And make sure to ask us how you can secure your own KFAN swag. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13:14 past the hour of 1 o'clock. Start off the 1 o'clock hour as we do each and every Monday through Thursday with 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hip hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Twins blew a 6-run lead yesterday, falling to the Houston Astros 9-7 in 10 innings at Target Field. They lost 2 of 3 in the series. Yordan Alvarez hit the game-tying 2-run homer off Griffin Jax in the top of the 9th. Then Jose Altuve's RBI single in the 10th sealed it. Chris Paddock lasted just 4 innings, giving up 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 7 hits and 2 walks. Common, would you consider yesterday's loss to be a Twins choke, or do you give credit to the Houston Astros?
Well, I think probably a combo platter. You know, it was interesting after they were off Friday and played Saturday, or were they off Friday?
Off Friday.
Yeah, and they played Saturday. They won Saturday's game. And I think the Bats, they had one really big inning, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be confusing my games and my seasons and my teams. But a lot of quotes coming off the locker room about, starting to gel. And then they picked up where they left off. They had, as you mentioned, a big inning. Was it a 7-1 lead?
7-1.
And then, the Twins, I'm on their mailing list for, news releases. And they sent one guy down and then bought the contract or whatever they call it of another guy, right? I thought for sure was going to be, they were replacing, who started yesterday for the Twins?
Paddock.
I thought for sure it was Paddock. But I think they want to give Paddock, a little longer leash. He was awful in his very first performance. He had struggles early, and then I think he started cruising along after a while, right? Didn't he have like 2 or 3 innings where he was 3 up, 3 down, I think? And then he couldn't get out of the 5th or whatever inning it was, and they lost. And, he had Baldelli had the quotes, and so did a player or two, basically. You got to win that game. You can't just let that get away. And, to me, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that is going to happen. But yeah, the start of the season just hasn't been what you would hope for. And now it's Kansas City for 3. So now Detroit's in first place. It's funny how those standings change so quickly. There was like a 4-way tie was it a 5-way tie for first? They were all 2 and 4 at one time. And now,
but Detroit got to play the White Sox.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And they did what they're supposed to do against. My guess is they swept them.
They swept them.
Yeah. But now we have Kansas City, and again, that's it's basically, it looks as though, depending upon health of each team, it's going to be a 4-team race, and so you're facing one of the teams that went to the playoffs last year. So, yeah, I think. Not being able to hit again. I mean, it's almost like they decided, well, we've got enough runs. Now, I know they didn't look at it that way. I'm sure they're up at the plate trying to swing, but yeah, it was just a tale of two halves of games. They were brilliant in the first half, and they couldn't do anything in the second. And then your guy, Griffin Jax, was there a reason he was pitching in the 9th? Was it because they were hoping to, they wanted to go to Duran in case there was extra innings? Because Duran's supposed to be kind of the closer, and Jack's a terrific pitcher.
I don't think you'd save him for extra innings when you're in the ninth and you have a chance to win the game. So there must have been something else.
Yeah, there must have been something else. But, it was not a good result for the hometown nine for sure.
Question number 2.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
At least we got a better result in St. Paul.
Zuccarello at center point. Peels at the Bolding. Outside the left circle. Back to Zuccarello. Once more Bolding. He's got a lane left circle. Walks in. Back to Zuccarello. Hurried shot. They score! Marco Rossi at the back post. Wins it in overtime. And the Wild beat the Stars in St. Paul 3 to the final.
Yeah, Joe Dono with the call yesterday on the Fan. Marco Rossi scored the game-winning goal in overtime. Wild beat the Dallas Stars 3-2 yesterday at the X. Matt Boldy, big game. He had a goal and 2 assists. He became only the 5th Wild player to record back-to-back 40-assist seasons. And the Wild's penalty kill, 4 for 4. Philip Gustafson made 23 saves. Wild are 6 points up on Calgary for that final playoff spot, though the Flames do have 2 games in hand. Colin, what sticks out to you from yesterday's Wild win?
First, I'm getting attacked. Duran pitched the 8th. Do some research.
Well, that would make sense then.
Yeah, get to the ALCS and get back to me. I don't have time to do research. Why was Duran pitching that inning? Did they think they were going to close it out in the 8th? I thought he was a 9th inning guy. What's going on here? I thought you had your 7th inning guy, your 8th inning guy, and your 9th inning guy. I thought Jax was setup guy. Someone's going to have to explain how baseball works to me now because it's not how it's supposed to be. I think they had the Wild lost 4. I should have done research. 4 of their last 5 leading into yesterday's game.
I think they'd maybe lost, 4 in a row or 4 out of 5.
4 to 5, whatever the case may be.
They still had some points in some of those, but yeah.
Right, but it was that grip on their playoff spot was starting to dwindle.
Yeah.
I mean, is there still they're not going to miss the playoffs, right?
Oh, they sure still could.
They still could, couldn't they?
Like I said, they're up 6 on Calgary, but Calgary has 2 games in hand. So, and if you look at the Flames' schedule coming up, their next 4 games, they've got Sharks twice, Ducks once, and Wild. In Sharks now the Wild also have the Sharks and the Ducks in their final 4 games as well. So you'd like to think the Wild should be able to win those games, but Calgary could easily here go on a 4-game winning streak. It's that game on Saturday. It's going to be Calgary versus the Wild on Saturday, and that's going to be for all the marbles, I think. Because it's likely Calgary's going to win 2 going into that one.
Okay.
Hopefully the Wild can beat the Sharks going into that one. But yet, no, the Wild are clearly in the driver's seat here, and it looks like they potentially will get Kaprizov back for Wednesday's game against the Sharks. So I don't know what Kirill Kaprizov are going to get, but at any, with how limited they are offensively, you'll take Kaprizov at 70% at this stage.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely not over. But yesterday was a huge game for them. They would have been kind of in trouble if they would have lost that one yesterday.
Well, let's, for argument's sake, say Kaprizov comes back and he's fine. I mean, he's not, he doesn't all of a sudden start getting hat tricks every game, but he's good. Is Eck back?
No, Eck's not back. He had returned to skating. It sounds like he'll be back before the season's over, but he might be a little later than Kaprizov.
Let's say they both are ready by playoff. Let's say we make the playoffs and both are skating. Is there any reason to believe we could? I'm not talking about 2003, or could you? Does the team have enough? Is the goalie still? Could we make a run and win a series or 2, or is it?
If Kaprizov is 100% and Eriksson Ek is 100%, they're good enough defensively to keep them in a series. I mean, Gustafson's been great all year. Middleton didn't play yesterday because he got hurt against the Islanders when he took kind of a weird, awkward fall into the boards. So they just listed him as day-to-day. So it sounds like it's better than what maybe that it had looked like. But, Faber and Spurgeon and Brodin and Middleton with Gustafson, I mean, they are a solid defensive team. And kind of their saving grace over the last couple of weeks when they've been as bad offensively as they have, their penalty kill has been terrific. It was really good again yesterday. They went 4 for 4, and it was actually disappointing. Dallas kind of scored that lucky goal right after the power play had expired, where it went off of a leg and in. But all of a sudden, this is the best their penalty kill has looked in 4 years.
Seriously?
So you get into a playoff series, as long as you're playing well defensively and playing with that penalty kill, I still don't like their offense. Even with Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek, I still don't think they have enough scoring. But also a very big game from Boldy yesterday. Yeah, Boldy's kind of taken some heat a little bit ever since Kaprizov's gone down and Eriksson Ek's been out. You know, it's always your biggest guys with the biggest contracts. The spotlight gets put on them, and I think he's taken a lot of heat off of the lack of scoring. And it's not all his fault, but just because he's that guy, he takes heat, and he willed them to points yesterday. I mean, the goal he scored was a terrific shift. He first drove to the net. He had the deflection that caused that chaos in front of the net and scored from his knees, diving at the puck. Matt Boldy was really, really good yesterday. So for all the people that have been kind of hating on him, you got to throw him some flowers at that performance yesterday.
Somebody whose office is near you thinks we're going nowhere.
I don't like our chances.
Oh.
You wanted me to sell you a little hope.
I told him.
It's hard to know because the team we're watching right now is currently constructed. No, they're not getting past a game 5 in a playoff series. But when this team had all its pieces together earlier in the year and Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek were in the lineup, whatever you want to think of them, they had one of the best records in hockey at the time. So I think the odds are slim that Kaprizov's going to just jump right in the lineup and pick right up where he left off. But the team we'd be seeing in the playoffs, we haven't seen in 4 months. So it's hard to give you a definitive 100% statement. But I agree with the person in the office that's near me that I would not like their chances if they have to face a Winnipeg or a Dallas or a Vancouver.
I got a message to both of you guys. Get off and stay off. I think we're going to the Western Conference Finals.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions.
This sex that came in.
Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Maybe start watching a Twins game every once in a while. I don't know where to find it.
It's in the Channel 1000s. That's where you want to find it.
Here's what I'll tell the text messenger: get to the American League Championship Series and get back. And I'm not going to invest my time. I have too much to do when I'm home in the evening.
Well, apparently a lot of people are agreeing with you because their attendance over the weekend was awful.
Yeah, nobody cares. We'll talk about that. And when's your apology to Boomer Esiason tend to be?
Ooh.
I'll explain. Other side of the break. Common Man program on the Fan.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
I just knew him as a kid.
Long, silent voices from his past came forward.
And he was just staring at me.
And they had secrets of their own to share.
Gilbert King. I'm the son of Jeremy Lynn Scott.
I was no longer just telling the story. I was part of it.
Every time I hear about my dad, is, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between a killer and the son he'd never known.
If the cops and everything would have done their job properly, my dad would have been in jail. I would have never existed.
I never expected to find myself in this place. Now, I need to tell you how I got here.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Bone Valley, Season 2. Jeremy.
Jeremy, I want to tell you something.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And to hear the entire new season ad-free with exclusive content starting April 9th, subscribe to Lava for Good Plus on Apple Podcasts.
Join Meat Sauce and Nordo for a live broadcast of Saturdays with Sauce at the Twin Cities Auto Show on Saturday, April 19th. Drop by the iHeart Zone from noon to 2 to catch the show, meet the guys, and to snag your KFAN gear. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Best 4 days in sports are upon us. We're talking about rounds 1 through 4 in the 89th Masters Golf Tournament. That's played at Augusta National Golf Course in Augusta, Georgia. It's Masters Week. This is even, to me, this is bigger than Packers Week. Agreed, Tenneby, or do you like Packers Week?
Oh, my gosh. You are above average.
Masters Week I get once a year. Packers Week I get twice a year.
You are correct. Oh, by the way, quickly, just a text message that came in directed toward you. It says, it's hard for Tennant to know how the Wild will do in the playoffs. How about just look at the previous 10 years for a clue? Wow.
Well, there's that.
There is that. 86 players. I think we talked about this last week, Tenneby. If there was anybody in the Valero Texas Open that just concluded this week and that was won by, is it Brian Harmon?
Yeah.
Brian, the Southpaw, he won an Open championship back in 2023. I think it was at, I don't remember where he won. But anyway, he won the Open. It was in Scotland. I do know that. He won the Open, and he hadn't won a tournament since. So he wins yesterday, but he was already included in the field at the Masters. Had somebody who had not qualified for the Masters through whatever, didn't get an invitation because they didn't finish in the top 50, hadn't won this, didn't do that, just that, would have won, they would have got in, but that did not happen yesterday. So I think it's a field of 96. One of those in the field, and I just learned this today, Tenneby, one of my golf sources happened upon this story. Gentleman by the name of Rafael Campos is going to play in the Masters. It's a story that it's on ESPN. If you're into the PGA, it's a pretty cool story.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it's about 8 minutes.
Got me emotional.
Well, yeah. The Campos guy, he's in his mid-30s. He's had a card for a while, but he was really on some hard times last year, missing cut after cut after cut after cut. He made, he made one cut in 13 or 14 events. And he's losing money at this point now because, as you know, if you are not winning events, you don't make the cut, you don't get a paycheck. And a guy like him doesn't have a bunch of endorsements to live off of, right? So he said he owed $60,000. Yeah, I think he said it even got close to 100. I think is what he said eventually, but 60 to 100, whatever it was. And he said he was, I don't know if he had left a term. He pulled the car over to the side of the road and started sobbing because he was thinking about, I got a daughter coming, I have my wife, I have my first child. And I'm going to have to find a new job, and I don't know what I'm going to do because he wants to play golf, and his wife's been in his corner all this time. There was if I remember the story exactly correctly, because I just kind of listened to a couple. I didn't listen to the very end, but I believe he had 1 or 2 tournaments left, and he had to finish second at worst in one of them to get enough FedEx points to keep his card. Yeah. So he's talking to his wife, and they're expecting a child, and it's supposed to be on the day before the tournament. She took Boomer Esiason's advice. She said, well, let's induce labor. Because he didn't want to miss the birth of his child, right? Yeah. Now, she didn't have a C-section, did she? Or did they? They didn't specify there. But they induced labor. Gave birth to a daughter on Wednesday. He went and played in the tournament. He won the tournament, and he got the paycheck. You've got to be kidding me. Kept his card, obviously, and he's playing in the Masters. Here's a soundbite we have. It's just, this is, Tenneby took this out of the piece. Let's listen to this. It runs about a half minute or so.
Campos and his wife, Stephanie, faced a difficult decision.
Stephanie never quit on this. She's like, let's consider inducing. The due date was November 17th.
That created a dilemma. That was also the final round of the Bermuda Championship.
We're going to try to induce November 11th so you can give yourself the last 2 opportunities. This is her talking.
They would try to induce labor on Monday, November 11th. If everything went smooth, Campos could be there for the birth of his first child and still make his Thursday tee time in Bermuda.
Rules of the hospital are if she does not give labor before 8 o'clock tonight, you will not be able to take her on Wednesday back to your house. So now we had a timeline. Stephanie
had the baby. He he wins.
It was brilliant. Well, he even explains later in the video too that first, he scrambled to get to the airport. Right. Barely got there in time. Had to do connecting flights, didn't sleep, didn't even practice for the tournament. He said his first hole, he absolutely just shanked a 4-iron. He ended up bogeying the hole. He missed a 2-foot putt for a bogey. And then he just went on heaters, shot 9 under the rest of the way that first round. And we mocked Boomer Esiason. Yeah. When it was suggested, what was that Flacco or no? What? No, it was some baseball player. Had to be there for opening day. Which is a little different than golfing for your professional life. Right.
And Boomer, and so it was a controversy. Then Boomer caught him on a show just really dramatically, just like, matter of factly, I know what I would have done. I'd have had her had a C-section. Because that's
I always loved that
what you
one.
do for a living.
Cut her open.
Cut her open. Because you got to be there for opening day. Can't miss opening day for crying out loud. It's too big. So, so he his back was against the wall. It was gut check time. And he finds his way.
I have the Boomer soundbite if you want to listen to that one.
Yeah, let's listen to Boomer. He got nominated for
C-section before this. I was said C-section before the season starts. I need to be at opening day. I'm sorry. This is what makes our money. This is how we're going to live our life. This is going to give my child every opportunity to be a success in life. I'll be able to afford any college I want to send my kid to because I'm a baseball player.
Opening day.
Opening day. Now, Eric in Minneapolis says inducing labor for non-medical reasons is not ideal. Doing it for golf is just dumb. You could make that argument, and I could listen to it. I just do think there was a difference between you're about to lose your livelihood.
Yep.
Or being there for opening day. And
100%.
And she brought it up. He didn't.
Correct.
And again, I think it went swimmingly. But, yeah.
To me, I don't know if I would. I want to be there for the birth of the child, but I would almost rather just say, hey, I'm not going to be there for the birth and forcing inducing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not that he was forcing it. It was her idea. But
correct. And I don't think I'm going to pick
how about the pressure you put yourself under, though? Yeah, by the way, you got to take second or better.
Yeah.
You got to take first or second, or you're going to lose your career.
There are people that are very bitter. You guys have to be kidding me. This might be one of the most out-of-touch garbage stories you've ever done, ever.
What?
I don't understand what he's saying. I'm just relaying a story. It's a story. What do you mean it's out of touch garbage stories? It's the story. He's happy, she's happy. You can
we need further explanation.
Yeah, well, I don't think I would have if, like let's just, for argument's sake, let's say Potato and I were expecting our third child this past Friday night when Meat Sauce and I had a comedy show at Sticks at Dog Green Golf Course. Well, this is how we make our money.
Yeah.
If I'm there for the birth of the child, then I don't get a paycheck. I don't sell T-shirts. I don't sell books. This is a pretty significant amount of money. And I think my wife would have certainly went ahead and we would have had
C-section?
Or at least induced labor.
Induced, yeah.
We would have induced labor. Because that's how I make my money. So I needed to be at the... And by the way, it was... Let's just say we brought down the house. Larry Mondello guy was brilliant. Meat sauce was pretty good. And then I closed. Marnie was there.
Really? She didn't perform, though?
No. Marnie Gellner and her husband showed up for the show.
I suppose it is her neighborhood over there.
I could hear her laughing out loud. I don't know if it was, the fake laughter like you have for me when you pretend you're laughing. And then I asked her as she was
Was she laughing at you or with you?
I think with.
Okay.
And as she was leaving, she said goodbye. And I said, because, she had talked about wanting to do stand-up with us. And I said to her, after what you've seen, are you still considering doing comedy? She goes, let me get back to you on that. So I don't know. I don't know if she wants to do it or not, but we'll see. Let's do this. Let's take a break and come back. I got plenty more to get to. We're going to talk more about labor. And we'll do that next on the other side of the break here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
I just knew him as a kid.
Long, silent voices from his past came forward.
And he was just staring at me.
And they had secrets of their own to share.
Gilbert King. I'm the son of Jeremy Lynn Scott.
I was no longer just telling the story. I was part of it.
Every time I hear about my dad, it's, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between a killer and the son he'd never known.
If the cops and everything would have done their job properly, my dad would have been in jail. I would have never existed.
I never expected to find myself in this place. Now, I need to tell you how I got here.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Bone Valley, Season 2. Jeremy.
Jeremy, I want to tell you something.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And to hear the entire new season ad-free with exclusive content starting April 9th, subscribe to Lava for Good Plus on Apple Podcasts.
Fan.
It's our final Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party of the regular season. Join Max Fuller this Thursday at Brian's Bar and Grill in Stillwater at 8 p.m. to watch your Timberwolves in action and to sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this season. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. He's Tennessee. Legendary one Mark Rosen will join us tomorrow just before 2 o'clock. We talked earlier about the two Final Four matches, the national semifinals played in San Antonio, Texas. Florida upends Auburn. All four number one seeds. First time in ages that all four, 10, 12, 15 years, whatever. It's only happened a couple of times where all four number one seeds have met on semifinal weekend where the number ones were there. And by the way, Tim, my strategy finally paid off. If Houston wins tonight. Remember, I told you that I explain this every year doing brackets. I do one where I kind of pick with the limited knowledge I have. Then I always do one where I just kind of have a lot of fun with it and maybe pick an upset or two and, just kind of make it a more wild and wacky kind of a board. And then I have the board where I take all the top seeds winning every game. And that is the board that if Houston wins tonight, I will win $200 with that strategy. Doesn't always pay off, but just a word of the wise. If you like doing NCAA brackets, if you're involved in the pool play, I would always recommend doing at least two for sure. You don't have to be like Rosen and do 13, 14 of them, but do a couple and have one with all the higher seeds. I get it. If you're doing a pool, that's $5. You're maybe throwing away $5, but it could work out for me.
I can guarantee you're a winner tonight.
What's that?
I can guarantee you'd be a winner tonight.
Yes.
Hedge your bets.
Oh.
You'd have to, you got to cross the border into Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to. You mean?
But all you got to do is you bet $100 on Florida tonight to win.
Okay.
At a local sports betting establishment of some sort.
Right.
Then if Florida wins, you win $100. If Houston wins, you'd lose that $100 bet, but then you'd win the $200 with your pool, so you'd be guaranteed to win a Benjamin.
Brilliant.
Sounds like a lot of work, though, that you're not going to be willing to. Right.
Well, and here's the other thing. I think you've heard me say this before. Maximum risk, maximum profit. I'd rather go 200 or nothing. But I get your take. Well, you're right.
Well, the money is not enough to be worth it, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to win, $200,000. Then that's when you do. All right, I'm going to make $100,000 bet on the other one. I guarantee I win $100,000.
Yeah, that makes. I guess that's when I.
But that's not enough money to hedge your bet.
That's where I guess I would dismiss my one of my favorite sayings: maximum risk, maximum profit. Yeah. I think I would if in that case. Just so if I did make it clear enough how incredible that comeback was. Houston beating Duke. I found a couple of paragraphs here, Tennessee. It says, with 8:17 remaining in the game, Duke led 59-45. 59-45. 14-point lead. With 8:17 remaining. Then it was Duke 64, Houston 55, 11 points, with a little more than 2 minutes left.
That'd be 9 points.
9 points. With a little more than 2 minutes left in the game. With 1:15 to play, Duke's edge got down to 7, 66-59. It's 7 points with a minute 15. Mm-hmm. There's no chance you're going to whittle into a 7-point lead, are you, with 1:15 to go? But that's exactly what they did. And here's the paragraph that is that I really like. It says, and then there was this reality. The same Houston team that needed 8 minutes and 9 seconds to score its first 9 points of the game. They needed 8 minutes and 9 seconds to score their first 9 points of the game. Needed only 33 seconds in the end to outscore Duke 9-zip and win by 3. So, and it was really, in large part, to the defensive play where they smothered Duke. They didn't let Duke do the things they had done for most of the game, for that matter, and for all season. Scoring a lot of points, having a very efficient offense with a lot of different players contributing, because it's not just Cooper Flagg. There are other players on that club that are pretty good. Tend to be, if you could have any, well, you'd probably take almost any profession over what you're doing right now.
Yes.
But if you could be a professional athlete, and I'm not saying the best in the world, but just you were making a living, would hockey be what you would want to do? Would it be baseball, football?
Hockey or golf.
Hockey or golf.
Yeah.
Golf to me would be the one, because
baseball would be the one I'd least want to do. Like, every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I think that one's not, it shouldn't be as hard on your body. Football would be the one.
It shouldn't be as hard on your body, but just in terms of your work-life balance, and if you're trying to raise a family and you're literally at the ballpark every single day for...
I think golf is the coolest. I just do. They were showing Augusta now, that practice round today, right? And it's raining there right now, light, right? But just to watch them while they're just practicing, getting ready to play in the Masters and getting paid to play golf is a pretty good deal. So that's the one I would choose. I wanted to ask you this, okay? Mostly because, Lee Trevino once had an old saying. They asked him what pressure was. And I might have the monetary numbers wrong, but he said something to the effect of, pressure is playing for $10 a hole when you only have $2.50 in your pocket, right? For me, pressure is having another hour and a half to kill when you have no material at all. I mean, I'm sitting here during each break going, what am I going to talk about next? Frantically scrolling through sports stories, news stories, trying to glom onto anything. I came up with nothing. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, you haven't even talked Wolves yet.
What is there to talk about? They won. And
Finch wasn't very happy about it, but
and you know what? For me,
Anthony Edwards hit a clutch shot, which has been the knock against him.
But that's what I wanted. I'm glad you didn't bring that up, because I think I saw somebody on the team basically was saying to something to the effect of, "That's what Ant does." It's like, no, he doesn't do that. He's supposed to do that, and he has.
He's capable of doing it.
He's capable. He's done it before, but that's been the rap on him. Is that late in games when they need him to make a bucket with just scant seconds remaining, he hasn't been able to do it. And I should admit this working at the All Sports station, but I just skimmed the story of their game, and it sounds like they were trying to give that game away too, against a terrible team and a terrible city and terrible fans. And that's why going forward, and I do get that once postseason play starts, it's a reset. It's sort of like back when I was younger. I guess ever since I was a young boy, I played the silver ball from Soho out to Brighton. I must have played them all. But I didn't see nothing like it in any amusement hall. That deaf and dumb and blind kid sure played a mean pinball. And when you would play pinball, oftentimes, if for those that played pinball at a high level like I did, you really liked when the owner operator, the machines would set them so they were really loose. So in other words, there are settings there, so because when you're playing pinball, if you know what you're doing, you work the machine, you push it and bump it and grind it a little bit, and you want to be able to. And then some are set though, so it's the word I'm looking for. So you can't really. They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're very when you shake it, it'll tilt. It'll just stop. So it's very sensitive. That's what I'm looking for. It's a very sensitive machine. It's a
snag machine.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You like playing the ones where you can bang that thing and shove that thing, or just you get into a rhythm playing it, right? And Why was I talking about this?
Talking about the Wolves.
Comparison to Anthony Edwards and me playing pinball, him shooting. That's where the comparison was going.
You're very inaccurate.
But it doesn't even. But the comparison doesn't even make any sense in this case. But I was going somewhere with it. I thought it was really good. Dang. Anyway, the reset. The playoffs is a reset. So if you would tilt the machine, well, guess what? You had another game. You're ready to go. That game's in the past. What happened in that game where you tilted, because you shook the machine too hard. And all of a sudden, if you shake it too hard, the machine, the sensitivity level, no matter how sensitive it is or not, it's going to tilt eventually. So it would tilt. And so once the playoffs start, it's a reset, right? Everybody's record is 0-0. I'm just not sure I shouldn't say I'm not sure I've seen enough because I haven't watched it all, but you know what I'm saying is from their track record this season, they just haven't shown me that, well, we can just turn it on and off like a switch. That, once, trust us, folks. I know what you've seen so far. We've lost some games we shouldn't have lost. We've been up and down most of the season. Probably if we had won just 2 or 3 of those games, we should have won against inferior opponents, which we admittedly said, the coach and players in post-game Q&As admitted the other team tried harder than we did. Had they tried harder, we wouldn't be in a situation like that, and I would have more of a reason to believe that they could make a run. I'm not suggesting they can't. I just don't feel good about it because, as we've talked about before, the West is really, really deep. But, if they were, is it 4 games left or 5?
4.
4 games left. I think you mentioned, a game and a half behind the Lakers.
Well, they're 2 games behind the Lakers.
Okay.
The Lakers are in 3rd.
Okay.
They're now just a half game behind Denver, who, by the way, Denver's free-falling. Mm-hmm. I know when you get into the playoffs, it's the old, they've got the Joker, they're the best team. They could, you don't want to play them, but they are falling apart, and a lot of it is because Jamal Murray's hurt again. Okay. And this has now happened over the last 5 years. When they've had issues in the playoffs, it's been because of Jamal Murray injury issues.
Yes.
So that's why they're on a 4-game skid right now. And Joker's, arguably the best player in the world, but you still, if you want to win a ship, you still need the help you still need a second guy in this league. So that's an issue. Here, I'll talk for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, I got to
So I think Denver, all of a sudden the Wolves are just a half game behind them, that they are, and it's a half game in the win column. So the Wolves have matched them now in the loss column. And then you have Clippers, Warriors, Wolves, Grizzlies are all tied at 46 and 32. And I was just looking at a tweet from Alan Horton, who is the play-by-play voice for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's got kind of like a cool infographic of the team's logos for what seed they can get. Obviously, OKC is getting the 1 seed. The only 2 teams that can get the 2 seed in the West are Houston and LA. There are 7 teams that can get the 3 seed. Houston, LA, Denver, Clippers, Warriors, Wolves, and Grizzlies. And then at 4 through 8, there's 6 teams that can all get those seeds. So
does he break it down game by game?
On who plays who?
If the Wolves run the table, would they get the 3, or because they're behind the Lakers and a couple of other teams?
Well, they probably still need stuff to happen,
yes,
but I mean,
correct.
If the Wolves win out, it's hard to imagine they're getting anything lower than a 5 seed, 4 or 5 seed.
Okay. Which means I lose money in a row.
It still could be hard for them to catch LA in 3 just because they're 2 games back with 4 to go. I mean, I don't know what the tiebreaker situation is there. But that's interesting because they've been moving up and down the standings even though they just keep winning just
Correct.
based off of whether it's a 2-team tiebreaker, now it's a 4-team tiebreaker. And all the other teams keep winning. Now Golden State finally lost to Houston the other night.
I'm just pouring blood out of my nose. I got to go to the doctor.
You haven't had that checked on?
No. Well, I did a long time ago. My doctor said, just jam some Vaseline up your nose. Well, it's like...
That's a temporary fix.
Well, that's
it's not
That's
a permanent
temporary
fix.
thing. But in my nose, I'm just pouring blood. It's like it's Foreman versus Frazier or something like that.
By the way, your Dallas team is going to sneak into the play-in game, it looks like.
Okay.
After the trade they made, everyone gave up on them, but they're 2.5 up on Phoenix for that final play-in game spot.
I took the, you know me, I always like to take the minority opinion on that. And, I didn't say it's the greatest trade ever. I just found it interesting that the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, who pulled the general manager, whatever, that pulled the trigger on it, the GM, was just getting ripped. It was the worst trade in the history of the NBA. And I guess you could make that argument because where would you say Doncic is offensively? Might be the best player in the game or one of the best, right?
He's elite.
And he's still young, right? Mid-20s?
Yes, he's still in his prime.
But you're going to have to pay him $325 million over so many years. And, now the rumors that were coming out of Dallas at the time when the trade was made, weren't they saying there's whispers that he likes his barley pops a little too much. He's not much into keeping in shape, and he gets winded and such like that. There are trade-offs when it comes to personnel. Tend to be not everybody's perfect, right? Meat Sauce doesn't have the greatest IQ level or personal hygiene, but he's a hell of a talent. So you put up with things, right? And I think it's the same thing with Doncic. But, they still had a lot of other, now, it was I get it that Doncic was the main reason they got to the NBA Finals last year, but they still had some other good players there. Mm-hmm. And if again, I don't know if the money was the main factor, but they're right there. And I would love, if it's not the Wolves, I'd love to see Dallas make a deep run. It would be so much fun. Watch the Lakers get dumped in the first round, and then watch Dallas make a deep run. But I don't.
Still amazed Houston's where they're at.
Yes.
Clear-cut favorite to get the 2 seed here. They kind of came out of nowhere.
This morning on the big network, if you go by the loss column and tiebreakers, the Timberwolves would be the 3 seed, because they have the tiebreaker over Denver, who has the tiebreaker on everyone else outside of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh, now he just sent back. Sorry, I meant 4th seed.
Yeah, I was going to say, they wouldn't be the 3 seed.
I meant 4 seed. This one.
So if all the teams that are a half game behind Denver, if they all won, they'd all be 47-32. Then they're all of a sudden it's a 5-way tie, and that's where he's saying the Wolves would have the advantage there.
Yeah, I think
because they've done well against Denver.
Yes, I think that's what he's saying.
But obviously, it's going to play itself out a little bit because the Wolves play Memphis still. I think Memphis plays either Golden State or Denver still.
I keep getting text messages. Do you get any of these people that tend to be they want us to bring back Blandon's blundering bets? It was a bit we had 5-6 years ago, we
did bring it back temporarily.
But I think my strategy went down the reason it was so successful early is my whole thought process on making bets was make one bet a day, Major League Baseball, and just look at the pitching matchups. And whoever the better pitcher is, especially if he's a stud, you bet on that team. And I think we started with, I don't remember how much money was it, $1,000 or not real money, just monopoly money. And I think I got up to several $100,000. I just kept doubling down and double. A couple of times I don't think I would actually double. I'd back off a little bit because there wasn't one, what I considered a slam dunk matchup. And so, but yeah, we could maybe do that again.
We brought it back last summer, I believe.
Well, yeah, and I said, I think I lost money right away, and so then I lose interest because I was doing
quite well for myself.
Yeah. But it is the Common Man program, and so we wanted Common Man to do well. I know you did, but I just love the first season was a perfect storm because my theory was perfect. I mean, I was winning. I don't even remember what game I finally lost it all on, but it was several $100,000, and I bet eventually it had to happen. The ace pitcher got rocked, and I lost the money. We've got so much show every day. I don't even know if we have time to fit it in, but we could maybe bring that back. Would you be willing to do it?
Sure.
We still have the Open and everything.
Yeah, I still got the results from last year.
Really? They meant that much to you?
Well, I just had this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up $285. You at one point got down to 62 cents, and then you added another $1,000, and then you lost that again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. Well, you're definitely you're a bit more conservative on your bets than I get. I get to be like what do they call it? Betting like a drunken sailor. My 50-cent pieces are not manhole covers. I throw my money around, and maybe we could do it again. Because I do think that was a lot of fun. Here's a text message. Florida will beat Houston by 10 or more. Book it. Houston can't hang with Florida's bigs. Well, we'll see. I like Houston. I think defense wins championships. I think their defense will be good enough even with all. And we talked about the 4 bigs that rotate in tonight, staying fresh, wearing other teams down. Could very well be, but that's why they play them. I'm going to go get cleaned up. I got blood everywhere. I'll clean up. We'll have another hour to go. It's the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
Every time I hear about my dad, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between Jeremy Scott and the son he'd never known.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.